Good morning, Razorback fans. Welcome into the Hoop Hogs Video Mailbag. I am Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas and the pod at the Palace. And here we are again with our daily mailbag question related to Arkansas basketball, where you ask it and I do my best to answer it. We've had a fun series of these things rolling here for the better part of a few weeks, and we got plenty more to get to. So let's see what we've got on the docket for today. Another good one from Kingsley. He's like, again, he's had some bangers now. He says, I see Cal doesn't value early season tournaments like Must did. Do you think they're missing out on some valuable experience there? Couple untimely exits from March Madness come to mind. Yeah, it's definitely a different scheduling strategy from Eric Musselman to John Calipari. That's for sure. And in some ways, I think I like Coach Cal's more because, with Must, they would play in these MTEs, which is what you're talking about, where they would have, maybe 3 really good games in 3 days, but then that was kind of it. And the rest of the schedule was, a bunch of bye games, which you're going to see. It's not unique to Arkansas. It happens all over the country. Whereas Cal, not really big on those tournament settings, but he really likes to play in some of those marquee matchups. What I like about this is it's kind of spread out. It feels like every couple of weeks in the non-conference slate, you got a really, really exciting game to look forward to. And those bye games are kind of mixed in. So I get it. But what you're talking about is preparing the team for the NCAA tournament, the quick turnarounds, the things that you're going to see once you get into March. And that was one of the reasons why Eric Musselman did that with some of these tournaments. We think about the Hall of Fame Classic, games on back-to-back days, Maui, 3 in a row, Battle for Atlantis, 3 in a row. And it teaches you to recover and game plan and short prep for big-time opponents and big-time games. And sometimes they handled that well and sometimes they didn't. But it's a little bit closer to what you're going to see in March. Now, the back-to-back-to-backs, like that's more of an SEC tournament thing. You're always going to get at least one day between for an NCAA tournament game. But a short prep is a short prep and a quick turnaround. There's something to be said for how you handle that. And so I think it's a valid question. For me, I think you can look at it from a few different standpoints. Like Cal really likes to be under the spotlight. And that's exactly what it's going to be in March, for the NCAA tournament. But it's also what he's got with some of these marquee games. And also these neutral site venues that they're playing in are going to be, in some cases, NCAA tournament sites where you might actually go play a game. I mean, where's Arkansas been playing? Like hockey arenas, NBA arenas, and then bigger arenas, which obviously if you get further down the road to Final Fours and things like that, the venue only gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So, Illinois in T-Mobile in Kansas City, that's a place that you could very easily play in an NCAA tournament game. Baylor at American Airlines, same deal. So from that standpoint, I really like it. It's give you the split atmosphere. It's a true neutral site. All those things are part of the experience in the NCAA tournament. As far as the prep and the short turnarounds and everything like that, I mean, I get it. In Cal's case right now, I don't know that it applies because he's getting bounced before the short turnarounds. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe if he kept losing in the round of 32 and they were winning their first game and then they were looking sluggish in that second game, they looked tired or unfocused or whatever, and they were losing. I mean, he had that situation. I guess it was 2 years ago. They won their opening round game. I think it was against Providence, maybe. I think that's right. And then they played that Kansas State team, Jerome Tang's first team that was really, really good. They lost. It was a dogfight. Maybe if he was just knocking on the door of a second weekend over and over and over and losing, I'd be like, maybe they're just not ready. They're not handling this quick turnaround soon enough. But what it has been really, and the biggest beef that Kentucky fans have had is that he's losing to these low and mid majors. He's getting popped in the first round, getting upset. So I don't know, like, from that standpoint, if they're trying to prepare for it, maybe they should tweak the schedule from playing, Illinois and Baylor and, Michigan at neutral sites, and they should play Maryland Eastern Shore and Oakland and whoever else, whatever else low major at these neutral sites so they can prepare for that and not get caught. But no, I do understand what you're saying. And it is interesting because those MTEs are huge events. And big showcase events. So it's kind of curious why Coach Cal's not a big fan of those. And I always knew that he wasn't from Maui. And the big thing about that is because like the time difference, the jet lag and everything, a lot of teams who go play in Maui, yeah, you get some great games for the resume. You play 3 in a row, but a lot of times they get beat or they damn near get beat when they come back home for that next game. We saw it with Arkansas when they went to Maui a couple years ago and came back and played Troy, and they were lucky to win that game just a few days later. And it was something that Musk talked about in the buildup that he was worried about. And some of these other ones that you play, close or locally, like the Bahamas, that wasn't a crazy time zone difference or anything like that. A little bit surprised that we don't see him there, but I think he kind of likes to be the center of attention, right? And so if it can be a one-off or a classic type situation like the Jimmy V deal where you got a couple games, but it's not like necessarily a tournament type deal, it seems like that's a little bit more up his alley. So I hope we get to see Arkansas out on on an aircraft carrier or playing in a NFL stadium or whatever kind of weird things that they try to do. That seems like the kind of thing that's right up John Calipari's alley. But yeah, I'm going to be anxious to see, because that was another thing to your point, I think, about those short turnarounds in some of these early season events. Kentucky's also struggled some recently in the SEC tournament, and that's a big deal. Like, I don't know how much Arkansas fans necessarily care about the SEC tournament, but Kentucky fans really do. And hey, it'd be cool to go win that thing every once in a while, wouldn't it? And they've struggled with that in the past too. I think, and this is just my opinion, that it's more of a youth issue for a couple of reasons. A lot of times players hit a freshman wall. I mean, we saw it with Anthony Black. We saw it with Moses Moody. We saw it with Nick Smith. Now, he was hurt. And it's just something that every freshman goes through, and eventually they kind of overcome it and get on the other side of it. And then secondly, it's just the experience. It hits different when you get to March, and sometimes those lights are a little bit too bright, especially when you don't have a plethora of veterans, of experienced guys who've kind of been there and done that to lean on in the moment. And so I get the sense that maybe he's leaning on that a little bit more right now. It seems like he's open to adapting some things, but I think he knows that his teams need to be a little bit older. And maybe that lack of reliance on solely freshmen and guys who are there for the first time, maybe he feels like that's what's going to get him over the hump. Now, if that doesn't work and they continue to have struggles the first year or two at Arkansas, then I'd be really interested to see if he kind of starts looking at the scheduling like you're talking about. And he goes, hey, you know what? We're playing some really good games here, but maybe there's just something about this prep. Maybe there's just something about even just being in a city and an arena with multiple other teams and how you handle that, where you're out to eat, the media availabilities and everything like that. Maybe it'll be something that he explores more moving forward. I hope we don't have to find out, but we'll see what happens there. But appreciate the question. Another really good one there. Kingsley, I love scheduling stuff because I used to do it when I was at Lindenwood. That was one of my other duties as a sign, was putting together the schedule. And it's hard, man. It ain't easy to do, especially when you get a late start on it like Cal. But I was always a fan of those MTEs, and I don't know, like it doesn't really matter, but I would have loved to have been a Maui Invitational champion or a Battle for Atlantis champion. It's pretty cool. And it's a good early barometer for where your team is at. And it's definitely valuable experience once you move forward. So appreciate it. Make sure you guys continue to get your questions in. I have a pinned thread on my Twitter profile, X, whatever you want to call it, at Kurt Wilkerson _. You can drop them in there. If you watch these videos on YouTube, throw your questions in the comment. I'll make sure that I get to them. Make sure you get subscribed to our Inside Arkansas YouTube page. Follow along with our Hoop Hogs Video Mailbag playlist, where we upload these things every single day at 8 a.m. We got another one coming for you tomorrow. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas and the Pod at the Palace, and we'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one.